everyone. This is Pam at Pink Dragonfly Wings, and we are ready for another adventure today. What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how a new way, actually, that I have learned how to make background pages for my junk journals. And I saw this online, and the little gal that I saw do it, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but it's at ShanoukiArt, ShanoukiArt. And there's the little tag. It's upside down, I guess, but and you can, well, it's backwards too. So anyway, that's where it is. Check her out, see how she does things. This was just inspired by her. Mine is not exactly like hers. No two artists are the same. But this is what I ended up making. And we're going to see what happens today. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with our ink pad. And I'm using Distress Ink, Vintage Photo, and Forest Moss today. And the simple reason that I'm using this is I am planning a nature themed junk journal, and I needed some papers for this, so I'm going to kind of stick in that theme a little bit and see if I can make a few pages for my junk journal. So here we go. The first thing that we're going to do, I started with just a plain piece of paper. Now this is 34-pound paper, I think. It's a little thicker. It's not as thick as cardstock, but it's a little thicker than just your regular copy paper. And I like using this because it doesn't tend to seep through on the other side as bad. So that's what we're going to try today. We're going to use this and kind of go from there and see how it works. Okay, so I have a little acrylic block here that I use for my stamps, but I'm going to use this one today for my ink. So I am going to spread some ink on this little block. And then we'll wet it with some water. And then we're just going to put some water on our paper just to kind of help the ink flow a little bit. And we're going to put it on here and just drag it. Okay, get a little bit more. And drag it. Looking cool, huh? And so, and like I said, I don't do mine exactly the way my inspiration gal did, but that's okay. We're all a little different. Now then, I'm going to dry this because it is, well, maybe with some of this water over here, we can go ahead and do the green and see what we get without drying it first. A little bit more on here. And if you get more on there than you want, you can always spray on some more water and let it run. Excuse me. All right. see here, I think I've got quite a bit of water on here, so we'll blop up a little bit of it so it doesn't take so long to dry. And if I can, when I edit this, I'll try to figure out how to edit this drying time out. And we'll see how that works. I don't know. This is only my second time to do this, so, and it's already so very different than the one before. So that one is bleeding through just a little bit, but that's okay. Since it's going in the same book, it won't matter. It will look different though, so get some warmth on here and see how it works. Okay. Now then, she used some distress sprays. I don't have any of the Distress Oxide sprays, but I do have some refillers. So I'm going to use those and we'll see. They don't do the same effect, but it still works. And so let's try this. This is Wild Honey Distress Oxide. And I'm just going to spread it out on here. And then this one is Frayed Burlap. And we'll put a little bit of this on there. And then again, I'm going to spray some water and let it run. And spread it out a little bit. Okay. Let's put a little bit more on there. Sort of makes it a yellowy, greeny, browny color. So let's see what we have here. A little bit more water. Oh goodness, my husband is making faces at me through the window. But anyway, so we're going to dry this, and we're going to see how this looks. Now, on this other one, I did put a little bit of turquoise on there because we do have water in nature. So, but I think on this one, I am going to use some blue. And this is Ken Oliver's Color Burst. And what I'm using is the ultramarine blue. And I'm going to put some water right here in this white spot and have it come right down here to the corner. this is a powder form, and it is super, super concentrated. So you can see it's already getting a little bit on there. And then we're just going to swirl it around. Got a little bit much down here, so we'll spray a little more water. And I've dropped this on here, so I'm going to lay my paper on it so that it can kind of soak up some of that water, that colored water. Water. Cover in some of our little white areas here. And let's dry just a little bit more. I hope everyone is having an awesome day today. It's kind of funny for us. We've lived in Colorado for the last 20 years, and in February we still have lots of snow up there. And here we don't, and it's so nice. Well, I say nice. I love the snow in Colorado, so I can't really say nice because I did totally love it. But it is nice to be able to go outside and wear my flip-flops in February. Now, another thing that I have here, and I'm going to spray a little on this back side, is coffee. And it's just coffee. I spent the other day coffee dyeing some paper, and I had a little bit left over, so I put it in this little spray bottle here, and I thought, well, I can kind of use that, and let's give it a whirl and see how that does. And then we do have some, let's try this burnt orange color burst. And it's really hard to see and tell when it starts coming out unless you've got a lot of water on it. You just kind of have to keep tapping because you don't want a whole lot on there. It does have a lot of color in it. Okay. That looks like a little sprinkling of leaves throughout, little orange and golden leaves. That looks pretty. Okay. And that was burnt orange. We've got some blue coming in from the other side and from where I put the little dots on the back paper, so kind of dry this a little bit. I don't want orange to be the overpowering color. Green is still my main focus color. think that is looking really pretty. Now, as you draw, if you're used to working with oxide ink, you'll remember that it dries more subtly and has a really cool look to it. And as I'm going along, I kind of get the edges of this paper really close with um, my heat gun, my heat tool, because it does kind of fringe the edges. And you don't want to catch them on fire or anything now. But I do like the fact that it kind of singes a little bit and makes it look old and antique. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. That is certainly okay. It's all up to your preference. Every now and then I'll kind of lay my heat gun down a little bit and it makes a little mark. And I like that too, but you do have to be really careful because you don't want to burn your scrapbook ring down. That would not be cool. Okay, we've got that pretty well. It's still a little damp, but not bad. And I like this little flatty type cover here. Let's try putting just a little bit more of this on this second side here, just to see kind of what will happen. It's kind of muted. I think I may pour a little bit of that off and just splop it like this instead of dragging it this time. And you know, every page that you make is going to come out a little different. It's just the way it is in the world of art. So I kind of like that. It added a little bit more dimension. Let's add a little bit more heat. I think we're done with those. And you can manipulate this color with your heat gun a little bit. And sometimes when it reacts with the other ink, it really gives you a very cool effect. And I like these little lines across there. I don't know why. I just think they're really cool looking. Those kind of look like the remnants of branches a little bit on the paper. All right, I think that's getting pretty dry now. And you can do this with ink pads, with the color burst powders, coffee or tea. I've used the Distress Oxide refillers. Anything. The Lindsay Gang sprays, you can use those. Whatever you have on hand. You can also use watercolors, acrylic ink, whatever is in your medium of choice. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get the stamp. We have a stamp here. And I'm going to get some VersaFine ink. And we're going to stamp these words on here. This is just sort of a script writing. I think it's not even in English. It's just really cool to look on there. And I'm going to put it off on there and then put it off on here a little bit so it's not quite so bold. And we're going to cover this with this ink, these words. And that's really kind of cool. And I don't always go the same direction. I see a little place that's vacant and I'll put some words there. Turn it upside down, put a little bit like this. Okay. And there we go. We've got our pretty words on here. Now let's see what we want to do to this side. Let's just put a little bit, not quite as covered as much as we did on the other side. Just to give a little texture, a little depth to the paper. Yeah, I like that. Yes. We need just a little bit more right in here. It's kind of plain. There we go. That fills up the hole a little bit. Okay, so we've got that done. Now, because I'm going to use this in a nature book, I have this stencil, or it's not a stencil, it's a stamp of some really pretty leaves. And I used it on this one. But my leaves really came out a little darker than I really wanted them to be. This side, the leaves are done in a copper ink, and I think I'm going to use that again and not necessarily do it with the dark green, because that one got just a little bit dark for what I was wanting it to be. Again, I'm not doing any kind of direction. Leaves go every which way. Okay, now that's not showing. Oh, it's because I didn't take the little lid off. I'm getting no ink. Duh. Alright, let's try it this way. Don't forget to take your little plastic cover off. It does help the ink come off a little better. don't know if you can see those. Those are very faint. But that's kind of what I want. I don't want it to be the focal point of the page. I just want it to be there like, hey, here we are. And it adds a little bit more color, a little bit more depth. And I like that. Oops. Now when I bought this stamp, I thought, I don't have any idea what I'm ever going to use that for. And I have used it so many times in so many projects. And I just love it. I don't even know where I got it. Probably at Tuesday morning or something like that. Okay, we'll turn it over here, and I want to do some leaves over here. They may show up a little bit more, but that's okay. This is a darker page, so I think that will work just fine. Kind of hard to tell. Maybe we need to spray a little ink, a little water on it. I don't know if that will help or not, but let's see. Oh yeah, that made a difference. I apologize for the condition of my fingernails. I've never really had to worry about, oh yeah, that's pretty. Never had to worry about fingernails too much. I have been a lifelong, prolific nail biter. And as I got older and my teeth weren't as strong, I guess I decided to quit biting my fingernails. And, you know, I've told my husband several times, I can either craft or I can have fingernails. But I can't very well do both. Because as you can see, I have no gloves. I don't like wearing gloves. And so I just deal with colorful fingernails. So, okay, and there's our paper all ready to be used in our junk journal. Very different pages using the same colors, the same techniques, the same products, but very different look. Very different look. All right, now on this one, I did use some gauze, and I put a little top up here. It's not really gauze, it's this stuff that you use building houses and stuff, and it's really messy, but it's so cool. And I put just a little bit on here. I dyed it with my ink. Now, these are some things I have, and I have some border punches that cut out borders. And I thought, well, okay, I usually want just the edge of my page done, but I thought this would be really cool to do for our junk journals. So let's get some of our green over here. Let's see, that's turquoise. That's our blue. Here's some green. Let's use the more yellowy green. And what I do is I just go along and wet this. This is just simply cut out of a scrap piece of coffee dyed paper. When I get ready, when I get through and I have a little piece left over, sometimes I'll have a strip down the side, and I'll just get my, well, can't tell if that is coming out or not. I think my little bottles may be a little stopped up. And I probably need to get a... Oh, see how vibrant that is. It's beautiful, beautiful. A little turquoise over here. And I really, really need some of this green. So let's poke a pen down in there, see if we can unclog that just a tad. There we go. Get it wet. I use lots of color, lots of the stuff. I can always take it away. And put it right down over here. We'll let it dry. We have enough that let's see how this one works. This is it's just a little punch that makes a little border. And I had a hard time with them at first. The first time I used them, I didn't know it was gonna come off. And I thought, oh my goodness. But now I kind of see. And let's try one of these. Whatever scrap paper I have, sometimes it's book pages, sometimes it's this page back here that I use to back. Sometimes I use my packing paper. It's just kind of whatever I have laying around extra. And then we'll put a little heat on this just to dry them just a little bit. Well, we will if I can find the right end of my heat tool. I tell you. And these do not take very long to dry at all. They're very thin paper and and put it over here and keep it from getting wet again. Get another sheet of paper and put on here. I don't waste anything, so we will get these and lay them up here. As they get dry, they get a little flighty, so you just kind of have to chase them around the table sometimes. So now then we have our paper here. And we can use these on the edges. And it really adds just a little bit of color, a little bit of texture to the edges of your paper. Very cool. So let's put that on there because I kind of like that. And so we're just going to not glue it wholeheartedly. In fact, we may just glue one side of it. And that way we can make a little pocket right here on the side. Let's pull that out just a little bit so it hangs over. Glue just a little bit more here. Okay. And now we've got it laying down pretty snug. Let's make that a little tighter. Okay. We can save those. Turn this over and cut it right here. And you can keep that piece. You could always put it down here or just as a decoration. But it is open on this side. So let's see. See if we can find a smaller piece of something. And you can use this as a pocket or a tuck right there on your page. And it's already there and ready for you. So we've got a little tag here, so we can put this right in here. And you have your page ready. There we go. Okay, so I hope y'all had fun. I hope you will try this. I hope you will experiment with this and find your own way of doing things and making your own awesome background paper. It hangs off a little bit on the edge so you can see it. It's really cool. So have fun, be creative, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for checking in and hanging out with me. Bye-bye.